back live. Meanwhile, we're going to take you to Mount Van Hoevenberg. We're here in Lake Placid. They're extremely proud of the brand new $24 million bobsled, luge, and skeleton track. Today was a chance for the lugers to take over, and now our doubles luge coverage is presented by Lincoln Financial. And so back down the road we go from downtown Lake Placid out to Mount Van Hoevenberg.
Ready? Okay.
In the midst of all of the Adirondack beauty and winter sports tradition that is Lake Placid, we at Mount Van Hoevenberg are in the midst of a novelty, the brand new bobsled, luge, and skeleton track, site of today's men's doubles competition. The weather here, well, it's freezing. Beautiful day, but the air is 10 degrees, the track 5 degrees. Not only does that mean cold athletes, but it means potentially fast and dangerous sliding. Imagine a golf tournament, pretty tough on a day like today, but imagine, say, the U.S. Open. Big tournament, best in the world are there on a tough new course. Big bunkers, water hazards, slick greens, and frankly, the golfers are scared right out of those multicolored pants. Well, Wendell Succo right here at Mount Van Hoevenberg, same deal. Brand new course, best lugers in the world, and they're scared right out of those multicolored speed suits.
That's exactly right, Tim. What we've witnessed today in training and all week is that these guys are nervous coming up the outrun. This track has scared a lot of the top lugers in the world.
Scared or not, who are the best on hand?
The best on hand are Leitner and Resch. They're from Germany, two-time world champions. Watch out for the hottest team on the circuit right now, Skell and Voller. That's their teammates from Germany. They just won the overall World Cup. The Americans, Chris Thorpe and Gordy Scheer, Mark Hermet and Brian Martin, silver and bronze medalists from the '98 Olympics. You can never count those two teams out.
Call it the $24 million marvel or the $24 million monster. That remains to be seen. This is the first ever event at this brand new state-of-the-art facility. Wendell, give us a ride down.
They have to make split-second decisions on how to drive from curve to curve, at the same time keeping an aerodynamic position to slice through the wind. When the speeds are increasing, that's when the adrenaline starts to pump through your veins. The athletes will be faced with these very problems today.
And they'll be faced with those in the second run coming up in a moment. But earlier today, the first heat, and the name of the day was crashes. Several sleds, including the world champion Austrians, crashed and were knocked out of the competition. Now, as for the Germans, Leitner and Resch, they didn't crash. They were a bit spooked. They, too, have withdrawn. That leaves the door open for the American teams. This is Mark Hermet and Brian Martin. We heard of them earlier. They are the two-time World Cup champions, and they had a near-perfect run. No one's perfect on this brand-new track. And so, as we are halfway through this competition, Hermet and Martin of the United States find themselves atop the leaderboard and nearly 1/2 second ahead of the Germans, Stefan Skell and Stefan Voller, while another American team, Chris Thorpe and Gordy Scheer, are in 4th place. Now the second heat is already underway, and Wendell, this was just moments ago from the Ukraine, the team of Andrei Urbansky and Andrei Mukin.
Right, this was a really scary moment in the sport of luge when this actually happens. You're going to get to see it firsthand. When you go over at speeds at over 80 miles an hour, it's like having a car accident. When you slam it into the wall, it just hurts. And right now, their skin is burning from the friction that is generating.
Fortunately, they did walk away from the track okay. Back in 1994, this team was sitting on top of the world and on top of the Olympic medal podium. From Italy, Kurt Brugger and Wilfried Huber, the Olympic gold medalists in '94, really have done nothing to replicate that since.
Not since. And this year, I spoke with them earlier in the week and during training. They were saying they had a lot of sled problems and a lot of things to work through. They feel like they're getting it back together. It's a little too late to do anything with, but they want a good showing here in the Goodwill games. But we saw those problems again on the first run, and now we'll just wait and see what they do. They're usually a great starting team.
Huber, the back man on this sled, part of a great luge and bobsled family. His brother has won an Olympic gold medal in luge, Norbert. His other brother, Gunther, an Olympic gold medalist. in bobsled.
And also, Arnold Huber was the 91 world champion in luge. So this has a huge tradition in this family.
They know their ice. Let's see if they know this tough curve. They do.
That
Very
is
good.
excellent. Now the team before, you saw brushing the walls, they had a nice clean run. This is what the team in 94 to win the Olympic medal, that's what they did. Kurt, head back, not looking. This is a beautiful run by Brugger Huber. They can just hold it together down here, and it looks like they're going to do that. They'll have a great run time.
The Russians have the lead in the clubhouse, but here come the Italians across the finish line easily out in front. 49.379 for the run, and a two-heat combined time of 1:39 and change moves them into the lead. Much more to come, including Americans Chris Thorpe and Gordy Scheer waiting at the top when we return.
What do we got?
Straight line.
Give me 300 now. Clear.
There's a better way to toast a sub. Quiznos oven-baked classics.
When you have an ailment, different doctors might recommend different treatments. But for yeast infections, the #1 recommendation of doctors is specific. Monistat, the #1 doctor-recommended brand. Monistat.
Go for the ride, this time is yours. Coca-Cola, enjoy, enjoy.
I have a mother. I have a father. I even have a big brother. I don't need someone else looking out for me. I need someone who can help me look out for myself.
At Lincoln Financial Group, our goal is to make the financial world clear and understandable so you can make informed decisions. Lincoln Financial Group. Clear solutions in a complex world.
Statistics show when you take Motrin IB the minute you feel a headache, cheering is 20% louder and goals are met with 68% more enthusiasm. Motrin IB. Life is too good to feel bad.
Try Quiznos mesquite chicken with bacon sub. Tender, all-white chicken strips, bacon, cheddar cheese, tomato, onion, and cool ranch dressing, all warm from the oven. Quiznos. Toasted tastes better.
Friday night, watch 2 of the Western Conference's best match up when Weber and Williams challenge Gary Payton in Seattle. Sonics Kings, tomorrow night at 10:30. The NBA on TNT. Get game.
Not exactly baseball. For the first place team, and all the way down to a $500 paycheck if the team finishes in 6th. Well, our next team up at the start, the Italian team of Gerhard Plankensteiner and Oswald Hasselrieder, more than a mouthful, and it takes more than just skill to make their way down a track. How do you steer a luge? Well, here's Wendell Succo.
3/4 miles of course, 20 treacherous corners, and speeds in excess of 80 miles an hour. You definitely have to steer in this sport. The most commonly asked question to myself and also Mark Hermet and Brian Martin is how do these steer? There's 2 major components. First is the legs, second is the shoulders. Gentlemen, show me a hard drive to the left. What Mark's doing, he's pressing down hard with his right leg, and at the same time, Brian is also applying pressure with his left shoulder. This will steer the sled on a dime. It takes hundreds of runs to get the basics down. It takes thousands of runs to learn the finesse that enables you to win an Olympic medal like Mark Hermet and Brian Martin.
And once again, the American team of Mark Hermet and Brian Martin, whom we just saw with you, Wendell, they're in first place. and we'll see them a little bit further along on this competition. But again, here are Gary and Ozzy, Plankensteiner and Hasselrieder. It just flows off the tongue.
These two are the characters of the World Cup circuit. They're always joking around, always in a great mood. And actually, the Italian team this week, while other teams are complaining, the Italian team has been very positive and excited about this track.
They see the opportunity of taking on a tough course. Now, you have slid both singles and doubles. Talk about what is tough about this discipline.
I tell you, the hardest thing is that it's two people on a sled, both have to steer.
Whoa. Trouble right there, and that's not even
that was on the top
of this track.
That was on the very top part of the course, and it's hard to know what's happening. They're out of control. Gary on top is visibly shaken. He's not having a good run. He's keeping his feet down, which again, it doesn't enable you to steer the sled. He's getting a little bit back, but you can see in his face he's not having a good time right now.
That speed, 70 miles an hour, slow by Luge standards at this part of the run, believe it or not.
That is correct. Usually you'd see speeds around 80 miles an hour, but again, on the top of the course, when you're skidding and you're having problems, it breaks down the speed of the sled, and it puts you out of any type of medal contention.
50-plus seconds for the run, and nowhere near the best run as their teammates, you just saw at the bottom, Brugger and Huber, stay out in the lead.
What we see right now, this is the start of the problem. A late entrance, you can see that the runner is off of the ice. It's amazing that they don't crash. At this point in time, this is how great the athletes are. His hand is out. That's a big no-no in this sport. At 60 miles an hour, that can get pulled behind you, and you can see serious injuries.
The Italians are 1-2 in the current standings. In fourth place, after the first run, the team of Chris Thorpe and Gordy Scheer.
These are our silver medalists from the '98 Olympics. They took the first half of this season off, and they're ready now. They've been peaking through the last part of the season, and I look for good things from them.
Thorpe from Marquette, Michigan. Scheer from Croton, New York. Their best finish during their aborted season, or abbreviated season, was a fourth place in the final World Cup race.
Chris is a technical driver. He's very good at keeping the sled right on. He's one of the best on our team. There again, where everyone else is having problems, he was right on. And this is a good run. They have not touched a thing. So far, perfect down the straightaway. And now we're coming into the tight part of the corner. Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Well, a crowd of family and friends are trackside, and they are watching a good performance by the American silver medalists at the 1998 Olympics.
A little problem there in the straightaway as you saw them drifting around, but not enough to make a big difference for them. Chris has kept a perfect position the whole way down, and position is the key. You've got to keep an aerodynamic position.
Chris Thorpe and Gordy Scheer with a finish time of 49.052, the best we've seen in the second run, and they move easily into the lead. A great showing by the Americans and two spokespeople for the Goodwill Games.
That's right.
This is the shady curve and our new telemetry on board the sled.
You can see when they're going through these corners, first of all, it's a show corner. And as we'll see in the men's competition tomorrow, they're a lot higher on the corner, but the G's that they take in these corners that are pulling your head down, your feet down, you can feel your skin getting pulled back on your face in those high G's. When you come out into a straightaway, as you can see here, the key is to keep a nice aerodynamic position as you're slicing through the wind. They do that better than anyone on the circuit.
Thorpe and Scheer currently in the lead and with hopes for a medal here at the Goodwill Games. Stay with us. We've got 3 more sleds remaining, including the American team of Mark Ramette and Brian Martin.
See a powerful story about a father, a son, and a violent time that would tear them apart.
Why not let me learn on my own?
Why not let me save you the trouble? Danny Glover, Freedom Song. Sunday, February 27th at 7, only on TNT.
20 years now. Where'd they go?
Need help with those?
I can do it.
20 years. I don't know.
I mean, you just caught an edge. It happens.
I sit and I wonder sometimes.
Year after year, it's good to have someone you can depend on. Chevy truck. The one the U.S. ski team depends on.
This is the year, my friend, we get off the bunny trail.
Oh, yeah?
You're not gonna be sick on the weekend, all right? You're gonna be good. I'm gonna take care of you right now. What's the deal? Here we go.
Tylenol Cold. He doesn't know it's the only cold medicine with the brand of pain reliever doctors recommend most.
She looks pretty sick. What do you think?
He just knows it's a sure shot for saving the weekend. All's well that ends well. Tylenol Cold. Take comfort in our strength.
Playing above the rim is something I always dreamed about. And I thought Vince Carter was going to show me how.
Get the ball, let's dunk. Go for the ball, go for the ball.
We dunk. We just learn how to
Not
dunk
yet.
now. If not now, when?
They go by him and then go fast.
Toying with the new nickname, I'm thinking of Showboat Tommy. Toot toot coming down the lane. Alley-oop, Showboat.
I want to teach him the final points of the game, the inner game. But I don't think everybody got it.
Tuesday and Friday, the NBA on TNT. Get game. You want it? You got it. The wait is over. Sports Illustrated Swimsuit 2000, hosted by Damon Wayans and SI supermodel as Stella Warren. Premieres Saturday, February 26th at 8 on TNT.
Hey, it may be cold, but that's what they live for here in the Adirondack Mountains. Plenty of happy fans on hand here at the Luge track as we check out the current standings. The Americans out in front, still 3 sleds remaining. From Italy, this is the surprise Italian team of Christian Oberstolz and Patrick Gruber. They are really the unheralded doubles team from Italy.
Yeah, when you have Brugger Huber, who are Olympic gold medalists, these people have a lot to look up to and a lot to live up to in the Italian system, but they surprised the world with a 4th place finishing at the World Championships, and they drove very well in the first run. And here again, you're seeing in the technical parts of the course, they are perfect.
Now, Wendell, you mentioned earlier that they do not talk to each other on the sled, but what are they thinking?
Right now, what it is you're concentrating on the next curve and the next curve, and as the sled keeps accelerating up to 80 miles an hour, there is just time for reaction. You don't have time to, like, physically think about what's coming up. You're reacting. It's second nature. That's what thousands and thousands of runs do for you.
Chris Thorpe and Gordy Scheer of the United States have the lead in the clubhouse, but here around the finish curve, the Italians cross the line. And they do it by .135 ahead of the Americans. Oberstolz and Gruber move into the lead.
I think we're seeing the future of Italian sliding.
They're clear. Waiting on deck, the American team of Mark Ramette and Brian Martin. They will be the last sled to go down this track, but here is the second to last. The sliding Steffens of Germany, Stefan Skell and Stefan Vohler. They are a formidable team.
This is the hottest team on the World Cup circuit this year. They just cleaned up by winning the World Cup overall circuit, and now they're here. They are dangerous anytime they're on the track, and they put themselves in a position to win now.
Longtime underachievers in the sport, in the shadows of their teammates Krause and Berendt, who won 2 Olympic gold medals. And finally, they have broken out this season.
It takes so long to develop the skills that can allow you to win, and they had the perfect teachers with Krause and Berendt. The real trick here in doubles is watching down the course. It's making everything in a rhythm. One curve has to meet to the next, and that's what's been hard to do on this course. No one's really got into a rhythm, but it looks like the last few doubles teams, after a little bit of shaky on the first run, are really starting to show their stuff and why they're so good.
Ideally, they say a team can make it down the track with its eyes closed, but that's when you know the track, and no one knows this new
That is exactly.
track.
Everyone's looking a little bit, but you can see they want to win. That's why they're putting their heads back in aerodynamic position. Anytime any one of these competitors comes out to the track, they want to win.
They had
and
a
they're no
huge
different.
lead, Wendell, at that last split time. Let's see how that parlays here across the finish line. And yes, they do it, 137.828, the best time we've seen for an individual run, and they move easily out in front of those Italians right there. Very clean run, cleanest we've seen, as you mentioned.
This is shady curve. This is probably the highest G curve on the track, where it's actually pulling your head down to the ice, pulling your feet down to the ice. The whole time these athletes have to hold their heads up and hold their feet up so they can steer. When your head gets pulled behind, you can't steer. That's when crashes happen. Right here in the straightaway, look at them. That's absolutely perfect. You can see the bumps in the track, but everyone has the same thing to deal with. But they peg the straightaway straight down the middle, which then increases their speed.
Still making their way to the finish line, all smiles, probably because they're happy to be down safe and in the lead. As we get set for our final sled, Mark Grimmett and Brian Martin, we look back to that special moment 2 years ago in Nagano, the Olympics, the finish line. Mark Grimmett and Brian Martin crossing and ensuring the USA of a medal. Right behind them, Chris Thorpe and Gordy Shear, silver and bronze for the U.S. After the long drought, they finally hit the medal podium.
All right, be aggressive. Yep, good start. Yep.
This inaugural Goodwill Games has come down to the final sled in the doubles competition. Mark Grimmett from Muskegon, Michigan. Brian Martin from Palo Alto, California. The two-time World Cup champions and Olympic bronze medalists, they have the lead entering this final run.
That was an excellent start, aggressive. That's what they need today. They need to be aggressive and attack this course, one curve into the next, not being passive and scared of it. And that's what Mark and Brian, Chris and Gordy, and the top sliders have been doing. You can see in the first part of the course where everyone else was having problems, they're holding it together. Mark is in good aerodynamic position, giving Brian enough cues through his rolls to let him know that these curves are coming one after the other.
They have a half-second lead at that first split. Can you be conservative, though?
No, you got to go. There's no brakes on the sleds. There is no brakes. They can't slow the sled down and try to just, we know we have a half second and play with it. They got to go all out.
A couple of bumps there in that straightaway, and their lead has been cut into a bit. The Germans have the lead at the bottom, but here come Mark Grimmett and Brian Martin trying to better 137.828. And they do it by 5 thousandths of a second, Wendell.
Incredible. That is incredible. That is what it's all about. That's racing on the World Cup circuit, and thank goodness it was here in the Winter Goodwill Games.
After nearly 1.5 miles of sledding down an icy chute, they win by roughly 1 inch.
That is correct. That's what makes luge racing so exciting.
Well, earlier they gave us a demonstration on how to steer a sled. Now they gave us a clinic on how to ride nearly perfect down the track. Mark Grimmett and Brian Martin, the winners of the inaugural Goodwill Games doubles competition. They take it over Schell and Voller of Germany. The Italians end up at third, and the American team of Chris Thorpe and Gordy Shear with a solid fourth place showing. Well, sleds were being chewed up and spit out all afternoon long. The United States team of Mark Grimmett and Brian Martin drove relatively cleanly, especially on the upper part of this track, and therefore this and the clean riding is our key moment, brought to you by Lincoln Financial. Once again, our congratulations to the United States team of Mark Grimmett and Brian Martin winning the inaugural Goodwill Games doubles competition. Not a bad way to start a great weekend of bobsled, luge, and skeleton here at Mount Van Hovenberg.
All right, Tim, 5 thousandths of a second. How do you deal with that? Coming up on TNT from Lake Placid, women's halfpipe, snowboarding. And then later, of course, live coverage in the technical program, men's figure skating in the inaugural Winter Goodwill Games. Right now, to the aerial hill at Mackenzie Intervale Complex. Saturday night, Eric Burgess, the Olympic gold medalist in Nagano, will dazzle us with live Saturday night coverage here from Lake Placid. Women's halfpipe coming up. You with some of the postcard images of day 2 of the first ever 2000 Winter Goodwill Games. Latest information on the 2000 Winter Goodwill Games. Go
only on TNT.
And that's February 27th at 7 right here on TNT. Well, leave it to the Lugers. That's the place where we've had the most controversy lately. They built a new $24 million bobsled, luge, and skeleton track, and not everyone has fallen in love with it. In our coverage sponsored by Lincoln Financial, we expected to see Marcus Prock and Georg Hackl, two of the most famous names in luge. But today we didn't see them. To that, there's a lot of controversy. We take you out now to Mount Van Hoevenberg. Tim Singer standing by.
Many hours before the snowman and the fans showed up here, there was all sorts of talk about both the craziness on and off the Mount Van Hoevenberg track. Hi, everyone. Tim Singer along with world luge champion Wendell Suko. They call Georg Hackl the Babe Ruth, the Michael Jordan of the sport of luge. Today, he was more like the Roberto Duran. He says no mas, pulls out of the competition along with fellow Olympic gold medalist Jens Mueller and 7-time World Cup champ Marcus Prock. Here's what Hackl had to say about pulling out.
It's a new track, and the conditions of the very new track are a little bit strange, and it's not possible to drive safely with my equipment today.
It's a little bit scary, but we're all competitors here, and Ted Turner's put a lot of money into bringing a lot of athletes over here, and for some of the other athletes not to race, it's just unacceptable.
Direct words from American Clay Ives. Now, Wendell Suko, here's the irony. For years, athletes have been saying the tracks are too easy. Now everyone shows up in Lake Placid, they face a challenge and start complaining. What's your take on Hackl's comments?
If Georg feels that he's unsafe with the equipment that he brought here for this competition, then by all means he shouldn't slide, because at 80 miles an hour, things can happen. But the irresponsible fact remains that you have to have enough equipment on a brand new track. You can't just come here with any old thing and think you're going to make it down.
Now, this isn't an international embargo. In doubles and luge, the Austrians and Germans did compete, and the Italians have had a great attitude.
The Italians are a great team. They came here prepared to take whatever course was necessary to make sure that their sleds could make it down the course.
All right, let's throw this controversy right out of this broadcast booth and check out some of the highlights of today's singles competition. If some of these guys that pulled out were scared to race down this track, their thoughts may have been validated in the first run. First of all, that was Willy Huber of Italy. This is Dennis Gebhardt of Germany. Tyler Seitz of Canada said he likes this track. He wasn't liking it after this crash. And Karsten Albert, also of Germany, a fourth-place finisher at the World Championships, had trouble as well. You see his frustration. Italy's Armin Zugler with a big lead after the first run, but American Adam Hite in second place and in very good position to win a medal. And now, Wendell Suko, we look at the final two runs of heat number 2. Adam Hite of the United States in second place entering this heat, hoping for a silver or gold.
This was Adam's last run of the season. He's been working all season long trying to get consistency, having 2 runs back-to-back that are both fast. And that's been kind of his problem. Now, the first run he put in, very good time. But in the second run, he had problems throughout the middle of the course, and they compound on the way down this difficult course. And that is kind of what we're seeing here today.
Now, Hite was one of the few that loved this track. He said, and I quote him, "Bring it on, bring on the competition." But it was not a good second run for Adam Hite. He fell behind several competitors, including Jaroslav Slavik of Slovakia. Now, no Hackl, no Mueller, no Prock, no matter. This man, Armin Zugler, has been the best in the world the last 2 seasons.
That is exactly right. We had the best competitor here today from the Italian team, Armin Zugler. Undoubtedly win whether Hackl's in or not.
He has won 5 of 7 races this year and won them big. None bigger than today at the Goodwill Games. As he crossed the finish line, his margin of victory over the rest of the field was 1.5 seconds. That's an eternity in this sport. So the 2-time Olympic medalist ends a big year in a big way, capturing the Goodwill Games ahead of Slovakian Jaroslav Slavik, Adam Hite of the United States, with a 4th place finish. Well, as far as our Lincoln Financial key moment, the winner today may have been Zugler, but it was also the track. Lots of crashes, including this one by Tony Benchoff of the United States, who fortunately walked away okay. So that closes the book on the luge competition, but here's a little teaser for you. Just after the luge ended, the bobsled started training. 2 of the best drivers, American Brian Scheimer and Italy's Gunther Huber, crashed during training. Should be an interesting weekend coming up here at Mount Van Hoevenberg.
All right, Tim, and we should update you that both Scheimer and Huber were both fine and will be in tomorrow's competition. As for the Austrians and Georg Hackel, this is a luge runner. Certainly not something that you couldn't throw a few extra into your luggage if you were going to fly all the way from Europe. There was some feeling today that the Austrians and Hackel were being unsportsmanlike, and they actually could have created the sharp runners they needed by using American equipment. But certainly not a day to remember for the best luge competition that we expected to see here in Lake Placid. Meanwhile, in the women's luge, we have the results to report, and once again, the Germans flexed their muscles. How about this for dominant? In the last 21 straight major competitions, the Germans have won. The top American was Ashley Hayden, who finished in 12th spot. Coming up, it's day 2 in the men's downhill. Can the Austrians save face? We'll see next on TNT's coverage of the Winter Goodwill Games.
Well, Troutwig. Al?
All right, Greg, looks like a failed strategy there, but things look fine over in Saranac Lake, just around the bend from Lake Placid in New York. Tubing is the sport of choice today. A nice, long, smooth, cushy ride. But not one of the 11 sports in the Winter Goodwill Games. Coming up, two-man bobsled. Yesterday, Brian Scheimer and USA won, and Italy won. Both crashed. We'll see how they do today in the opening 2 runs on the brand-new course here in Lake Placid.
The 2000 Winter Goodwill Games on TNT are brought to you by the remarkable power of Duracell Ultra. More power, more life. By Autotrader.com, the biggest, best used car site on the planet. By Quiznos Oven Baked Subs, a proud sponsor of the Goodwill Games. By Lincoln Financial Group, clear solutions in a complex world. And by Heineken, it's all about the beer. Heineken.
We're back live on TNT at Moose Lodge at the Whiteface Club on gorgeous Lake Placid. Once again, we see some blue skies, and we've got lots more to come. Already great mogul stuff, and the finish in the Nordic combined. Welcome back. You know, Lake Placid, since, well, going back to 1932, holding the first Winter Olympics here, the third in history, also was able to campaign and get the games for the athletes in 1980. And this city is largely based on attracting events. This goes back now some 70 years to a place called the Lake Placid Club. Lisa Densmore certainly knows about the area. She grew up here and tells us more about it.
100 years ago, Lake Placid was already a popular summer resort among wealthy New Yorkers, including one Dr. Melville Dewey, inventor of the Dewey Decimal System. It was Dewey who founded the Lake Placid Club on the edge of Mirror Lake. The concept of a winter resort did not exist. During the winter of 1905, he ordered 40 pairs of skis from Norway, then invited 10 cronies to Lake Placid for an experimental winter outing. The 10 skied, skated, and went tobogganing. As a result, Lake Placid quickly earned a reputation worldwide as the winter playground. The Lake Placid Club would host numerous international winter competitions, but it was the club's sponsorship of speed skating events, the glamour sport at the time, that would ultimately land Lake Placid the 1932 Winter Olympics.
And Lisa, they ordered those skis from Norway because none were made in the United States at the time. And at that first Winter Olympics here in 1932, there was a bobsled. Then there was bobsled again in 1980. They added refrigeration. Now there's a brand new track because that original track was outdated. Yesterday, it looked like this track may have been too challenging and too tricky for some of the riders. Now in our coverage sponsored by Power Bar, we send you out to see what happened earlier today in the two-man bobsled. Tim Singer and John Morgan on the scene.
The bobsled community, which is huge here in Lake Placid, would say, you've seen the rest, now get set for the best. Welcome to the two-man bobsled competition here at Mount Van Hovenberg. As we check out the weather conditions, well, Al Troutwig, it's not quite as toasty as it is over in the Moose Lodge, but it has warmed up to a balmy 28 degrees under sunny conditions. Hello, everyone. Tim Singer here at Mount Van Hovenberg. Well, back in the 1960s, when most American kids were idolizing the likes of a Johnny Unitas or a Mickey Mantle, There was a little blonde-haired boy here in Lake Placid that stood trackside over at the old track and idolized the likes of a Eugenio Monti and some of the other bobsled legends. John Morgan, 35 years later, you're still here, you're still a kid at heart, loving this sport.
It's a big day for Lake Placid to have this brand new, fantastic facility being tested like this. And Tim, when I was competing, it was a man versus the mountain. You came out here and you just wanted to get down the track. The sport has really drastically changed with these new artificial tracks that have been built. But the one they built here is a challenge. These athletes up here, the best athletes in the world, have all they can do just to get to the bottom.
And among the best is an American.
Brian Scheimer in third place into the first heat. But yesterday is a good example of how this track challenges everybody. Here's Scheimer in practice yesterday. He already crashed once, and this is the second time in 5 trips he crashes. He comes through the finish corner, and his first quote getting out of the sled was, "Hey, we always wanted a challenging track, and now we got one."
Well, there was a lot of skepticism entering this competition in light of those crashes, but already we've had 1 heat of this competition. Let's check out some of the highlights, and it was Scheimer off of the track first.
Yeah, Scheimer took advantage of fresh ice. He's got a bad leg, and I was very impressed with his start time, the way he legged it out, and he was pretty good down below. Again, he took advantage being the first guy down, and he puts himself in medal position.
From Latvia, the driver Sandis Prusis, he had a surprisingly good run.
Well, he's one of the best pilots in the world in 4-man bobsledding. 2-man bobsledding doesn't get the start times, but the start time doesn't matter here. It's the drive down below, and Prusis was perfect.
Now, John, next up is the man you said would win this easily.
Well, he's in second place right now, Tim. I think he's just lurking from behind, and I think he's going to be our gold medalist when this is all said and done.
And don't think for a second the first run wasn't without some excitement.
Hey, here comes the Czech Republic finding out why they put lips on this track, Tim. He almost went out.
So after 1 of 4 runs here at Mount Van Hovenberg, it is the Latvians, Prusis and Ozols, atop the leaderboard, followed by the Germans, but 2 American sleds in the top 5. First up here in the second heat, they were in 6th place after run number 1. This is the Italy team of Gunter Huber and Christian Lagrassa. And John, Brian Scheimer was not the only experienced pilot immune to this track.
1998 Olympic gold medalist. Look what happens to him in practice yesterday. On his head. He went right back up, came down, showed us a bruised elbow, bruised ego, and he's still here.
That's head coach Meinhard Niemer of the Italian team. He won the gold medal here at the 1980 Olympics.
First guy to break a minute barrier on the old track, and that was like Chuck Yeager breaking the speed barrier. It was unbelievable.
Now, the split times you'll see on the left side of your screen are that of the French sled that just went down the track. They hold the lead with 6 sleds remaining.
And this little diminutive Italian reminds me a lot of Eugenio Monti. Small, but boy, has he got some eye-hand coordination. I rank him as one of the top 2 or 3 best 2-man pilots in the world, if not the best.
Great tradition of Italian luging. This is a 4-heat race. It's combined time. Lowest total time will win this thing.
Oh, that's a big skid there and some heavy problems. 12's going to suck him up. He's losing a lot of time back. He's only got a 3,300 lead, Tim, and he hasn't caught up from that skid. Look at no speed, 78.5. The French at 79.9. And he's going to have all he can do to be atop the leaderboard at the bottom.
Huber and Lagrassa making their way around the final few curves towards the finish. And their time is 1:55.93 by 0.02 of a second. The slightest of margins, like the bill of that baseball cap you just saw, they have maintained their lead.
I tell you what, he was squirrely out of shady. Watch the sled, the back end of the sled here, a little bit of a skid. Now he comes off late. He's got to make an adjustment, and this is where it starts. He didn't catch up to this sled for another 25 seconds. The rest of the way down the track, all he did was throw away his time. Watch this here in the chicane. We're looking at runner tips here. He's got problems here. A little sweep to the right, now back to the left, and he's just trying to get control. He's still in skids. He's still in a skid. And this is the best driver in the world, I was saying.
Most consistent driver. You see the 2-run time of 1:55.93. Huber and Lagrassa have the lead. 5 sleds remain, including 2 sleds from the United States. And in 5th place after run number 1, it is the team of Todd Hayes and Garrett Hines. John, 3 years ago, no one had heard of this man, at least in bobsledding.
Well, he's paid his dues, Tim. He's been on the Europa Cup circuit, this year the World Championship circuit. And I tell you, he surprised everybody with a 6th-place finish at the World Championships 2 weeks ago in Altenburg, Germany. He had the 2nd-best time in the final heat. He is coming on.
Garrett Hines, the brakeman with Olympic experience. He is a veteran to this team, and they are a great starting team here at the first 50 meters.
Had the 2nd-best start time with the first heat, 5:13. Hayes is probably the biggest pushing driver in the world. Let's see if they can match that consistency. They do. 5:13 in both heats, Tim. That tells you a lot about consistency, which is needed in this sport.
Hayes, 30 years old. He's from Del Rio, Texas. Garrett Hines calls Atlanta his hometown.
Garrett's in the military. Hayes, one of them fight-to-the-death guys.
Ultimate fighting competitor and a kickboxing national champion.
He's got his hands full right now with this sled. He's driving a Bodine bobsled down the track today. Good exit out of Shady. That bodes well for his time. He's clean down here in 12. 1900's lead over the French at the bottom. And he's not real smooth in the chicane, not the speed the French had. He has 78.5, the French at 79.9. This is going to be close.
Around the finish curve, these are the final few turns. Here come Todd Hayes and Garrett Hines of the United States. Still ahead, USA's Brian Scheimer. But this United States sled has moved into the lead to the delight of head coach Steve Majorca.
Minus 19 to minus 35. It might have been there here in the chicane. He got it all together. We're looking for runner tips to see if he's doing any steering here. Runner tips coming straight at us. Look at there, no spray coming off those runner tips. Tim, that's where he started getting his time back.
Well, the USA has the lead. We still have several sleds remaining here at Mount Van Hovenberg. And as we take you to the break, you ever wonder what this feels like to ride down one of these things? Try a roller coaster multiplied by 10.
See a powerful story about a father, a son, and a violent time that would tear them apart.
Why not let me learn on my own?
Why not let me save you the trouble? Danny Glover, Freedom Song. Sunday, February 27th at 7, only on TNT.
See near. See far, without glasses. Discover the revolutionary AccuView bifocal contact lens, the first with pupil-intelligent design. See near, see far, the way nature intended. The AccuView bifocal contact lens. Call us for a free trial pair certificate or visit your eye care professional.
Welcome to the NBA on TNT Announcers Camp.
You really have to work on a signature call, something like, yes.
Yes!
Keep working on it, kid.
You got it.
Up high! Up high! Down hard! Down hard! Yeah! Up high! Down hard! Up high! Down hard! Up high!
Up high!
Down hard! Down hard!
Tuesday and Friday, the NBA on TNT. Get game. You want it, you got it. The wait is over. Sports Illustrated Swimsuit 2000, hosted by Damon Wayans and SI Supermodel as Stella Warren. Premieres next Saturday at 8 on TNT. CBS NBA Monday moves to the Motor City. It's the big league moves of Grant Hill against the power and passion of Morning and the Heat. Heat and Pistons, 8 Eastern Monday on the Superstation.
Back here at Mount Van Hovenberg, where American Todd Hayes has the lead in the two-man competition. Hayes and Hines riding the Bodine sled, financed and created by NASCAR driver Jeff Bodine. Jeff had a horrific crash yesterday at Daytona, and all of the bobsled community wishes him a speedy recovery. $15,000 awaits the winning team with good cash across the board. And here come the Canadians, John. Pierre Luters and Ben Hindle.
Yeah, there's a wrong name in that graphic there, Tim, but Ben Hindle's one of those two Hindles that slide with him, Ben and Matt, part of the four-man team. And Pierre's missing his good brakeman, though, Ken LeBlanc, and he's been suffering spiritually all winter long. He's the 1998 Olympic gold medalist. He tied for that gold medal with Gunter Huber of Italy, but he hasn't been the same once he lost Ken LeBlanc to a knee injury.
Though to his credit, Hubert has won World Cup races with 4 different brakemen.
And +8 is a good sign for the United States and not for Canada. Huber's going to have to get this sled under control to have a chance to be the leader at the bottom, and he's skidding every place. Chicane, he's not too bad. Look at the speed, though, 81.3, the biggest speed we've seen so far. He could be the leader with that type of speed, Tim.
Sports cars on ice, cruising along with those high ice walls on each side. Here they come towards the finish. The Canadians are in a tie with the Americans, and Coach Ivo Ferriani is delighted.
That shows you what the speed does in the bottom part of the track. They went from +8 to dead heat.
Folks, they have ridden down this track twice. This is a sport timed to the 100th of a second, and they are tied.
Look at this shot in curve 8. That's unbelievable. The sleds are stretched. The articulation in the sleds are maxed out, Tim. It's unbelievable challenge for these guys. Coming right at us here. This is why he had big speed, 81.2. Look at the runner tips. He had to do a little steering through that chicane, but not much. Those runners are straight at us. Big speed, and that's why he's tied for the lead.
The Canadians and the Americans tied for first in this competition as we get set for another United States sled. You know, John, we have to go back to 1956 to find the last Olympic Games where the USA has won a medal, but clearly in the last half century there has been no American driver better than our next man, Brian Shimer.
Well, I'm one of the guys who recruited him out of Naples, Florida, and I'll tell you, he's a great athlete. Just missed another World Championship medal last week by 0.02 of a second, but he's been plagued by an injury since La Plan, France, 1 month ago. Look at him limping here. For 1 month ago on the Plan, he started limping a bad calf. Now he's got one leg in the sled here in St. Moritz. He's just trying to keep his World Cup points. He's had injuries the last couple of years, really been haunting him, and he's got injuries right now.
He's 37 years old, and as you know, as well as anyone, as you get older, those injuries take a lot longer to recover.
Especially in a cold weather sport. Look at him limping now. That's not the same gallop. I know Brian Shimer. He's going to have all he can do for a 5:25 or 5:26 start time. Suffering.
The brakeman is Paul Jovanovic. He's from Toms River, New Jersey, a new brakeman for Shimer this season.
And you know one thing, though, if you're a good pilot, you can give up a little time at the start on this treacherous track and have a good time at the bottom, Tim, and he's going to have to be perfect to be ahead of his teammate Hayes and Luters at the bottom. +11, he's down to those guys right now. Look at him here in 8. That's a pretty good exit out of 8. The speed's going to be the key here in Shady. Look at it, now it's +10. He stopped the bleeding, and now that Bodine sled starts to motor.
The Canadians and the other United States sled are tied for the lead at the bottom.
+2.
200's the difference at the latest split. Now he's moved ahead.
79.9. Now it's to -4, but he didn't have the same speed as the Canadians. This is where he crashed right here. He's through that albatross. Could it be bringing it home, Tim? Could it be right to the 100?
Could it be a 3-way tie? Here they cross the finish line. No!
Wow!
A huge advantage for the Americans at the bottom part of this track. Look at that advantage. Nearly 0.4 of a second. A great ride. Advantage. Nearly 0.4 of a second. A great ride for Shimer and Jovanovic.
I tell you what, you can't do this on the other refrigerated tracks in Europe, in Salt Lake and Calgary. This tells you why this is a driver's track. Shimer was limping. Look at this noticeable limp here at the start. The guy's pushing off one leg, gets a 5:30 start. His teammate had a 5:13 start. That's an unbelievable disadvantage in this sport. But Shimer, through his driving ability and the Bodine sleds, which are famous in the speed part of the track, this is where the sled started the motor. The back end fell off a little bit there. He went from +10 at this point to +1 at the next spot to -4. Great driving by Brian Scheimer.
Scheimer, one of the most experienced pilots in the world. He and Jovanovic take the lead ahead of the Canadian and the other American sled.
Three minutes. That's how long I have to chase a dream across the ice. Attempt 5 jumps and land like a feather after each one. One moment of doubt, a second of hesitation, and years of training are wasted. I have 3 minutes to fail or become a legend. Again.
From Lake Placid, the 2000 Winter Goodwill Games, where the world's best prove it, continues tonight at 8 on TNT.
Statistics show when you take Motrin IB the minute you feel a headache, cheering is 20% louder and goals are met with 68% more enthusiasm. Motrin IB, life is too good to feel bad.
Yea, though I walk through the valley of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me. Thou preparest the table before me in the presence of my enemies.
Over the past 65 years, Chevy Suburban has come a very long way. Introducing the best Suburban yet. The all-new Chevy Suburban. Like a rock.
Every player dreams that one day he will be immortalized on an NBA poster. Unless he's that other guy on the poster. No matter what a player's famous for, he still gets thirsty.
Oh, he took him to school!
What do we got?
Straight line.
Give me 300 now. Clear!
There's a better way to toast us up. Quiznos Oven-Baked Classics.
Taking in the action here at Mount Van Hoevenberg, the greatest Olympic bobsled pilot ever, Wolfgang Hoppe of the former East Germany, with 2 gold medals in 1984, 2 silvers in '88, and a bronze in '92 as well as '94. And John Morgan, this is his protege.
Well, this is his protege right here. Won the World Championships last week in Altenburg. This guy is the guy that's probably going to win double gold in Salt Lake in 2002. If I could get a bet down in Vegas, that would be it, Tim.
You're not a betting man, John Morgan, I know that.
I tell you what, though, he's young and big and strong, fast. This is not his normal brakeman. Not going to have the big starts that he usually gets in Europe. He had a silver medal in the 2-man World Championships. 5:17. He's got a 2600s lead on Scheimer right now, who's at the bottom of the track in the leader's box.
The United States holds down the top 2 positions down at the finish. Just 2 sleds remain.
Well, Scheimer can have all he can do to just keep within a half second of this German sled. 3400s at that clock. Smooth out of the 8-9. Now into where the sled should slingshot effect on the bottom.
Also, keep in mind this track is being chewed up with each sled that goes down it, making it more tricky.
Yeah, now it's -34, only to -35. That's a good sign for the other sleds. Back to -34, same speed as Scheimer. Now on the bottom part of the track, looks like he's starting to bleed back some of that time. Should be our leader by about 20 hundredths, though, Tim, 2500ths.
Here come Lange and Berendt across the finish line for Germany, and they do it by 28 hundredths of a second. Nods of approval all around as the Germans have overtaken the lead from that man, Brian Scheimer of the USA.
Well, Scheimer gave up the time at the start to Lange and had a better drive down below, but that start time deficiency at 1300ths was too much. Here we go in the chicane. Awesome shot this is. We're looking at runner tips here. We want to see these runners one behind another. He snakes himself through this little chicane. No steering. It's not the guy who steers the most that wins. It's the guy who steers the least. Andre Longer didn't do any steering through that chicane.
Try saying that to those drivers when they're coming down this track at 80 miles an hour, not to steer. Well, Longa and Barrett have the lead. We have one sled remaining here in the second run of the Goodwill Games luge competition. You know, back when the Soviet Union was a power in this sport, what sport weren't they a power in? All of the great Soviet bobsled drivers came from Latvia, and here is who they inherited.
And here's Sandis Prūsis with his son Rudolf in St. Moritz last week, where he won a medal. The guy has been 2 silver medals this year on the World Cup Tour. He's been really coming on and developing himself into being a national hero in Latvia. They don't have a lot of winter sports medalists like this guy, and boy, I tell you, the last couple of years, Tim, he has really been coming on as one of the best pilots. He's like a Huber. He's like Mignon.
One thing they do have in Latvia is a track. They do not compete on that track. They have luge competitions there, but certainly it gives this man an advantage.
Well, they tested runners in that track in the old Soviet program that are still around. The coach for the United States team is a Latvian who distributes those same runners to the United States program. One of the reasons this guy's in the lead is because of the runners he's got in this sled.
During the offseason, Sandis Prūsis is a lumberjack, and he's okay. At least he is in bobsled.
Well, he doesn't get a type of a power start. 5:19, not bad though. Only 200ths behind Lange, who just went down. But watch this sled come down the middle. Now, we've seen a lot of rough edges from everybody else. This guy has got the great eye-hand coordination. One of the few guys that possess this. He's unbelievable, untouchable in four-man ability. He'll be an unbelievable asset in this track at the World Championships here in 2003. Look how smooth he is.
Top 10 finisher at the 1998 Winter Olympics and a few World Cup victories over the past few years.
Tim, he's carving right down the middle of this track. 1400s at the last clock. Now it's 17. Now he's flying. Should be 80-mile-an-hour speeds. There it is, 81.3. Best speed we've seen from anybody. And he's proven it right here. He is one of the best pilots in the world. Going to be our leader.
Final curve. Here comes Latvia, sled number 1 across the finish line as the number 1 sled. 154.74 by 1700ths of a second. Sandis Prūsis and Latvia 1 have the lead midway through this competition.
One thing this track is telling everybody, you just can't have a start time here to win. You got to drive. This guy is the best driver today. Let's watch him through the chicane. He had the best speed, didn't have the best start. Look at the runner tips here, little spray off the back. Snakes himself through here. 81.3-mile-an-hour speeds is why he's the top of the leaderboard.
So Latvia sled number 1, the best run in heat number 1. They maintain their lead midway through this competition as we check out the standings. 2 heats are done. The Latvians are in front, but look at the Americans in 3rd and 4th place. We'll hear from them. The Latvians have the lead midway through this competition, but honored to be part of our power bar moment are the Americans. USA sled number 1, Brian Scheimer and Pavle Jovanovic. They had the rough start, the clear injury, but it was this beautiful driving down below which has propelled them into 3rd place. Right now, Scheimer is standing by with John Morgan. John?
Thanks, Tim. Brian, awesome driving down below. The sled was just rocketing on the bottom part of the track, that Bodine sled.
Yeah, the Bodine sled's flying, you know, and I'd like to wish Jeff a speedy recovery. I know he had a terrible accident yesterday, and he won't be racing at Daytona this weekend, but he's here with us this weekend. You know, the sleds. Jeff, this one's for you.
Obviously, the Bodine project is very important to Brian Scheimer. Tim Slinger, back to you.
All right, thanks very much, John. Clearly an emotional Brian Scheimer down there at the finish. The Latvians have the lead, but hey, this competition is only halfway done. Much more bobsledding coming up tomorrow. And don't forget, we've got the skeleton tonight. That is some wild action.
And from bobsled, we're going to take you to ski jumping. Can the United States possibly keep up with the depth of Austria, Japan, and Germany? We'll find out next on TNT. Today, live on the Winter Goodwill Games final day. Two-man bobsled, where G-forces violently battle their desire to steer for gold. Will Now get our first look at the air, the mayhem, and the speed of snowboard cross, where it's a survival thing. Live from the big jump that rises above the trees, the intrepid take their leaps of faith. Plus, we return to the big bounces of freestyle moguls, except this time, it's double your pleasure in the Winter Goodwill Games. We are live on Main Street in Lake Placid, New York, the host for the 1932 and 1980 Winter Olympic Games. Once again, the residents of this small village of only 2,600 have been gracious hosts. This time, for the first Winter Goodwill Games. We've got blizzarding conditions, we've got strong winds, and we have airborne athletes. Could be problems, but we'll take you in a short while to the ski jump at the Mackenzie Intervale Ski Jumping Complex. Individual honors are on the line. Plus, we've already been dazzled by the exploits of the freestyle skiers. How about today, double moguls, where we learn later that it's not always all fun and games. Plus, at Mount Van Hovenberg two-man bobsled, American Brian Scheimer has put himself in medal contention. We'll have that live. And we welcome you. Just next to Whiteface Mountain is Moose Mountain. And just south of there, we find in the middle of Lake Placid itself, Moose Island. What other thing could we call our cozy lodge than Moose Lodge, which is there nestled just next to Buck Island in Pollywog Bay. And Lake Placid is completely frozen. Plenty of snow here at Moose Lodge, and we're glad you could be with us. It's hard to believe this is the fourth and final day of coverage. Time has certainly flown. But today, as we welcome you to the Winter Goodwill Games, we have 5 hours of coverage. I'm Al Troutwig, and later on tonight, we look forward to finding out if native Lake Placidian, if that's the right way, Jim Shea, can finally get the gold medal as he attempts to become the third member of his family to reach the Winter Olympics. Plus, live, we'll have a figure skating exhibition from the same figure skaters that dazzled us last night. And after some of the things that the men did, you wonder what they could possibly do for an encore. Plus, what may be my favorite new sport, snowboard cross. But that's tonight. Today, as we mentioned, we're going to take you to double moguls in the ski jump, but we begin with two-man bobsled. And our coverage is presented by Power Bar. We've already had a crash and an injury, so we'll get a live update now by sending you out to Mount Van Hovenberg. Tim Singer and John Morgan standing by.
All right, thanks very much, Al Troutwig. Well, there is a huge crowd here at Mount Van Hovenberg. They are racing fans. They don't care about a bunch of guys racing around in a circle down in Florida today. Their interest is on these race cars on ice shooting down this Mount Van Hovenberg track. Hi, everyone. Tim Singer live here at Mount Van Hovenberg. We've got a couple of stories brewing. First, as Al Troutwig just mentioned, Brian Scheimer, the American bronze medalist. He is in bronze medal position, but he is hurt and is at this track only by sheer guts. Right now, I introduce my broadcast partner, John. And John, the other story, perhaps even bigger, it's dangerous out here again.
It's the man versus the mountain, and Mount Van Hovenberg is beating up the best bobsled pilots in the world, Tim. We saw that here in the third heat.
We still have the fourth heat ahead, but let's check out the third heat. This is scary, very scary stuff, and it began with the Olympic gold medalist from 1998, Pierre Lueders of Canada.
We've never seen him crash, but here on the exit of 18, he gets a little late on that right-hand wall, comes in late, upside down. But what's scary, Tim, is the way his head's hanging outside this sled right here. And it quieted us all for a few minutes. We were very worried for Pierre and his brakeman, Ben Hindle. But fortunately enough, Ivo Ferriani, their coach, a lot of concern. Lueders on the left, though, looked a little dazed, but looks okay.
He was dazed, taken to a hospital. We will give you a report if we get it. Now, just after the Canadians, the Americans, Todd Hayes and Garrett Hines.
Yeah, the sled gets away from Todd here. He gets on the wrong side of the wall right here, which means he's got to come in late to this corner, driving air. He's over in the Bodine sled. Garrett Hines finds a way to get out of the sled. Hayes is smart. He tucks himself underneath the sled and goes down to the finish. Luckily, both of these guys walked away.
Both are okay, but they are out of the race. Now, after waiting about 20 minutes minutes waiting and thinking. Finally, Scheimer and Paul Jovanovic made it down.
Scheimer on one leg, and then Scheimer had problems in the big shady corner, hit the lip, the sled went airborne. He hurt his ribs coming down. So Scheimer's got a bad leg, bad ribs, but boys, he got some kind of strong mental mind at the moment.
As you said, John Morgan, if you were going to give an award, a gold medal for courage, it belongs to Brian Scheimer. He has regrouped. He was in pain at the bottom, but he has promised us he will make it back to the top and give us a fourth run. So we check out the standings, and lost in all of this excitement is the fact that we have a very tight race atop the leaderboard. Latvia and driver Sandis Prusis just 6/100ths of a second ahead of German world champion Andre Langen. As you see, Brian Scheimer and Paul Jovanovic holding down the bronze medal position. Now we pick up action as the fourth heat is just getting underway. John Morgan, we've had several sleds drop out, and can you argue with them?
Well, the French are far enough back to realize that they can't get to third place, and there's no extra money beyond the first top three guys. So Bruno Mignon has pulled out. Here's the Czech Republic, though. They decided to stay in the competition. They'll be the first ones off. Look what happened to them yesterday. Here he is. He loses a rope in the big shady corner, and that means the sled climbs. He's got no choice here. Goes up and hits the lip. So near disaster for the Czechs, but they're hanging in there. They're ready to go.
Well, the Czech Republic and driver Pavel Puškar will be our first sled. John, well, we've got a moment. This has been the underlying theme all weekend here at Mount Van Hoevenberg. Is the track too dangerous? Does some work still need to be done?
The track is in its early stages. The ice needs to be better groomed. The lugers were on the track, which means there's different take-ons and outlets. They're shaved more smooth for the lugers to enter and come off the corners. The lugers need a different type of ice than the bobsledders, and I think that's one of the problems here, is it's a brand new track, and both sports were on it, Tim.
There's a look at the sleds, the survivors, the 5 who remain. The Czech Republic will go first. Then another Olympic gold medalist, Gunther Huber, the second down, Brian Scheimer third, and then they run them from 5th place to 1st place with the Latvians the final sled. John, on the subject of crashes, I know our viewers out there who are not astute bobsled experts, and that's just about everyone but you, they're wondering, where are the Jamaicans? Do they even still compete?
Well, I think the sunblock countries, as we call them, the Virgin Islands, Jamaicans, the Mexicans, and Puerto Ricans, better wait till this track gets better groomed before they come up here. This is, again, the man versus the mountain, the type of the sport, the way I knew it when I was growing up, Tim.
But I'm sure you and Al Troutway both still have your Jamaican T-shirts on under your turtlenecks.
Yes, we do. Good starters here. Best start so far in the competition, 5'11" by these two guys from the Czech Republic right here. Kobian is huge man in the back of the sled. A little colder up there. They've been sitting for a long time, 5'20". But again, he had a lot of problems. He dropped the steering rope down there in shady, and they almost went out of the track yesterday, Tim.
They finished 8th place at the Olympic Games. They have been an inconsistent team. As you said, great athletes, maybe not great drivers, and that's dangerous in this track.
Every once in a while, they get on a track where the start really works for him. Here's where he had his problems, here in shady yesterday. Let's see if he can get through it. He stays very, very low in that corner. That's going to cost him a lot of speed. Now into the 12th, where they had the Americans crash. They got through that. Looks to me like he's doing a very safe line, Tim, but the safe line's not the fast line.
It's a 4-heat total time race. Naturally, the lowest total time will win. This is the first sled to make its way across the finish area here. Czech Republic #1, Pavel Puškar and Jan Kobiam, and their finish time is 3:53.42. To the delight of their coach. Any coach is just happy that these guys will walk away okay.
Well, in essence, they're in first place at the moment, but they just beat the mountain, Tim. They made it down 4 times, and the mountain, they're one of the few teams that didn't crash. 5 of the 10 teams that have been here have crashed. These guys have made it down. They finished the week, and they beat up the mountain.
58.22 for the 4th run. That's 1 second slower than the fastest times we've seen.
Look how low he is here, Tim, way below where you want to be. And that's because he's steering, really steering, and that's going to cost him speed down below. But I don't blame him one bit. I mean, he's out here not looking for the fast line. He's looking for the safe line. Here he is in the chicane. Look, looking for runner tips here. Let's watch the way he steers through this little S section. Do we see any spray coming off the runners? A little bit, coming straight at us, so it's a pretty good, safe run for Pavel Puškar.
Puškar and Kobian are done. Hey, they've guaranteed themselves at least a top 5 finish here at Mount Van Hoevenberg. John, in many ways, this is like a throwback to the old days, the heyday, and I don't just mean the danger, but the crowds as well.
Yeah, this is the way I grew up out here, Tim. Thousands of people coming out for a Saturday or Sunday afternoon watching the action at Mount Van Hoevenberg, and on the top of the track is probably one of the best pilots in the last 20 years to be in the sport.
And that pilot is Günther Huber of Italy. He shared the Olympic gold medal in 1998 with the Canadian Pierre Luders. In fact, Huber also won a bronze medal at the '94 Olympics and several years was the World Cup champion. His brakeman is Christian Lagrassa. And John, you just said that this guy has the eyes of a hawk. He is perhaps the best clean driver on the circuit.
Yeah, diminutive in size. I mean, he's a throwback to where the drivers used to be. Gives up a little time at the start, but the two-man bobsled is his specialty. He can smell third place. He knows Scheimer's hurt. He can smell it. He's got 3,200 separation between him and Brian Scheimer, and I believe this guy is going to sit at the bottom and be very confident with his placing.
Well, the difference in prize money between fourth and third is $8,000, so you know he has a bit of motivation.
But this guy, again, we talk about his abilities with his eyes and hands, Tim. There are very few people come around like him. There's a big skid. Look at the way he maneuvered those runner tips. That was wrong. Out of 7. 6, 7, 8 combination. Right here is where the sled has to move. Right here, coming into this shady corner. See if he gets high. The medium-low line. He also takes the medium-low line. Good exit into labyrinths, though.
The brakeman in the sport has to be sort of a yoga expert because they really have no role other than to tuck down there.
Yeah, they got to feel themselves in or on the track, though, because if they get on 2 runners, that brakeman can throw the sled back down on 4 runners, and we know how important the brakeman is today.
The Czech Republic has the lead down at the finish. Here comes Italy. Sled number 1, Huber and Lagrassa. They cross, and they do it easily by 1.78 seconds. 57.94 for the 4th and final heat, and they have the lead with 3 sleds remaining.
And again, they're through and down, Tim. That's the most important thing. Here he is in the chicane. Again, we're looking for runner tips as he snakes himself through this little S, little spray off the back runners. Look at his eyes. I mean, the guy is possessed. He's got a little bit of a skid going to the back end, a little bit airborne. That's that rough ice that's on this track right now. Another year or so, that'll be smoother ice.
3 more sleds remain here at Mount Van Hoevenberg, including American Brian Scheimer, when we return.
In tennis, the advantage of the two-handed backhand is obviously power because you're using both hands. But it also is deceiving because in a split second, you can change the direction of the ball that you hit. Your opponent never knows if you're going to rifle it down the line or rip it cross court, and I like that.
Knowledge is the edge. At Invesco, it's the approach we use to make money for investors. You should know what Invesco knows.
20 years now. Where'd they go?
Need help with those?
I can do it. 20 years. I don't know.
I mean, you just caught an edge. It happens.
I sit and I wonder sometimes.
Year after year, it's good to have someone you can depend on. Chevy truck. The one the U.S. ski team depends on.
When you get to your sinus pain before it gets to you with Motrin sinus headache, statistics show high notes sound 20% sweeter, spins are 40% more pleasurable, and being married feels a lot more like dating. Motrin sinus headache has a powerful decongestant, so you can put the pain to bed while you stay out all night. Motrin sinus headache. Life is too good to feel bad.
Sorry, Slugger. Sold out. Better luck next time.
The 2000 Winter Goodwill Games on TNT are brought to you by Invesco, a family of mutual funds. You should know what Invesco knows. By Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By Autotrader.com, the biggest, best used car site on the planet. By Motrin IB, life is too good to feel bad. And by Power Bar, don't balk.
Well, the track here at Mount Van Hoevenberg may be brand new. There's nothing new about the history of this place.
Opening Christmas Day, 1931, for the 32 Winter Olympic Games, but the track, the sleds became too fast for it. Danger here for 10 years. They built a new track in 1 year. Tim, they built this thing. It takes usually 2 years to build them. This past summer, they were finishing up the touches to it. They put the ice on it in January. 1 month later, we're sliding. Unbelievable construction plan.
And that comes courtesy of the support of New York State and the Olympic Regional Development Authority right here in Lake Placid, not to mention some very kind weather in the months of November and December. It was rather warm there.
Well, it's warm in this guy's heart right here, I'll tell you. Red Badge of Courage, our dude right here.
You have to go back to 1956 to find the last time the Americans medaled in the Olympics.
But he's limping here. I mean, this guy's running on one leg. He's got a bad rib. He was asking for an injection for it. He hurt that in curve 10 in the last heat. Scheimer is a medical wonder just to be at the top of this track, to even attempt coming down this thing.
One thing he has always had throughout these injuries is great brakemen, and I mean great as in Edwin Moses, the likes of Herschel Walker, Willie Gault, and right now it is Pavle Jovanović's chore to try to motor Brian down this track.
I don't even want to watch this. One leg, well, he looks pretty good there, man. He's really liking this out. He had 5:37 in the last heat on one leg. 5:24.
1500ths of a second improvement, or 1300ths.
I don't know. I mean, that is unbelievable. The guy was limping in the first heat, and Tim, you saw him 35 minutes ago. The guy could barely get out of the sled.
There's the Italy split time. Scheimer a half second up.
Well, he's got to. If he just gets to the bottom here, he's going to win third. But he's, you know, this track, it's him against the mountain. I don't think it's the Italian down below. If he just lets the sled run to the bottom, he'll be at least in third place.
Another intermediate split coming up. He just makes it through safely there and extends his lead.
He's got one more trouble spot. The exit, he's perfect there. 79.9 speed. This is where the Canadians crashed down here. He's 2 runners on there. He's through now. He's going to make it, Tim.
Brian Scheimer of Naples, Florida. Pavle Jovanović of Toms River, New Jersey. They crossed the finish line with a sensational run. 1200ths of a second off of the track record, but well out in front of the Italians right there, Huber and LaGrassa.
Let me tell you, the guy is, it's unbelievable, the mental toughness on this guy right here.
And there you're seeing a huge groan of relief.
This guy won't be able to walk tonight. I mean, if you see him in the streets tomorrow, give him a pat in the back. This guy gave everything. I can't believe he could run like this. This guy's got one leg for the last 5 weeks. We've seen him limping. This is just all heart. This is why he's toiled in this sport for 15 years. And, you know, I was one of the guys that recruited him, and we recruited him because he did have mental toughness. He came from football. But right here, I thought it was all over. Almost on 2 runners. And this is where the brakeman's got to help him out a little bit to bring the sled back down off those 2 runners. Tim, he almost bought it. But right here, he's perfect. The chicane, he's not even snaking through here. He was absolute perfect. Look at the runner tips here. He came straight at us. That's one of the best exits. Unbelievable performance by Scheimer.
And head coach Steve Majorca at the top. He knows a medal has been won. Well, it sort of reminds you of Willis Reed and that knee injury. He comes back, wins the final game. This is Scheimer's final race of the season. And with heart and glory, he has won himself a medal.
And $10,000 at least.
There's a look at the standings with the Americans leading the Italians and the Czech Republic, but this race isn't over. In fact, in many ways, it's just begun. 2 more sleds separated by just 6/100ths of a second.
And put your seatbelts on. These next 2 trips are going to be awesome. The young against the old. This is the young, Andre Lange here, the world champion in 4-man, the silver medalist in the 2-man world championships, and my bet to win 2 gold medals at the 2002 Winter Olympic Games. This guy is going to be a legend in this sport before he's through.
26 years old. He's from the former East Germany. Andre Lange.
He's been reeling in the the Latvian the last 2 runs. The Latvian had a big lead in the first heat. He got some time back on him in the second heat and a lot of time in the third heat. Got it down to only 600s. But he did a lot of steering there, Tim. Let's look for the line through here. He's a pretty medium-high line. Great exit. Now into the labyrinths. See if he's got that mistake at 12. No, smooth through 12. If he gets 80-mile-an-hour speed, it's going to be a lot of pressure on the Latvians. There it is.
Perfect in the straightaway.
But he made a bump there in the entrance. 81.3, though, was the best speed we've seen.
He has a huge lead over the Americans. That is no longer the contest.
Oh, this was a good heat. This is a lot of pressure on the Latvians up top. This guy is a future double gold medalist.
57.24. That is the second fastest run of the day. The fastest being this very sled in heat number 3.
Hey. A lot of pressure on this young East German pilot. He's from Oberhof. He knows what he just did. Another day at the office for him. Now here he is. Look at the head snap on there. That's the take on. 4.5 G's of force. A medium-high line. But watch this exit coming out. Perfect. Look at those runner tips. That's where that slingshot effect on the bottom part of the track. Here he is in the chicane. He doesn't come through here as clean as Scheimer, but I think he had a better exit as Shady, which allowed him to have the better speed. Little mistake there, but the speed trap was above that.
Well, as you said, John, the Americans, their day is done, but they know they've won a medal. It should probably be a bronze. You said you'd put a bet on these guys. I haven't seen the spread yet, the betting spread for the 2002 Olympics, but I will go with you and place a bet on this German team.
Well, he is a guy with a lot of bright future.
As I mentioned earlier, the 2 fastest runs of the day have been put in by Germany driver Andre Lange, 57.20, and the second heat just 400ths behind. And what he has done, John, is put the pressure on this, the final sled, Latvia.
I don't even think he looked at the leaderboard. He didn't look at the times. This is a very experienced pilot. We talk about the young and the old. The former Soviet Union pilot in the late 80s that slides now for his homeland, Latvia. Becoming a legend in Latvia, Tim. He's got great eye-head coordination. He's in the same mold as Mignon of France, Huber of Italy. Very few people like this possess these type of driving skills, and he's going to need them in the next 45 or 50 seconds.
Sandis Prusis and Janis Olsens, veterans, 8th place finishers at the Olympics.
Right here, he's going to have to be smooth. Now it's down to -3. He's going to have to stop the bleeding right here on the entrance into Shady. Real smooth. It could be even at the next clock, I bet, Tim. There, no, -4. He picked it up.
This is going to be down to the 100th of a second, right to the final few curves.
Oh, he's smooth. The speed's going to be the key. If he has 81-mile-an-hour speeds, he's got a chance to win it.
He's extending the lead now.
Blows everybody away. 82.9. Now,
a clean drive, a fast drive. This is what wins a bobsled race.
This is a driver's track, and this guy's proven it. We've had our problems out here, but this is what bobsledding's all about. The best driver, and this was the best driver today.
Not only that, put an exclamation point on it with a new track record. Not that the track is old, but 57.08. Latvia has captured the Goodwill Games gold medal.
I tell you what, this is a driver's track, Tim. It's the end of a wonderful story. There's a lot of doubts about the track, but the best did survive. The start up here is everything in bobsledding. He gives up a little bit. Look at the technique by the brakeman. Good leg drive and turnover. The knees are coming up good. The driver now can't get in and alter the start at all. It's got to be a power step into the sled. The brakeman now gets in, sits down behind in an aerodynamic position. But this is what it's all about, the driving skills, the medium-high line around the corner. Now watch the exit here. This is what it's all about. This is the slingshot effect on the bottom part of the track, and look at these runner tips. Perfect. He didn't steer right there, Tim. That was just excellent experience. Now in the chicane, again, looking for the runner tips. This is where he won it. He had 82.3-mile-an-hour speeds. That is unbelievable with the snow coming down. The guy just ice in his blood to come down this track like this.
Celebration in the entire Latvian camp. Sandis Prusis, one of the quietest men on the circuit, but certainly one of the nicest guys as well. And this is perhaps the biggest victory in his very long career. So a check at the final standings. As I mentioned, only 5 sleds survived out of an original field of 10, but the Latvians take it with a new track record. They win it over the German sled of Andre Lange, but a great story for the Americans. Brian Scheimer ending up with the bronze medal despite all of the injuries. Our power bar moment here at Mount Van Hoevenberg. We just saw him come down the track where so many others failed. Latvian driver Sandis Prūsis succeeded, not only negotiating the tricky turns, but doing it at speeds upwards of 85 miles an hour. So that is the situation from Mount Van Hoevenberg. What a wild day of activity. We send it back to Al Troutwig at the Moose Lodge.
All right, Tim, does John Morgan love his bobs or what? That's great stuff. Meanwhile, wind, as far as ski jumping is concerned, is a major problem, and they've got plenty at the Mackenzie Intervale Complex. We'll check in there live next. Reminder that tomorrow it's the Miami Heat and the Detroit Pistons, TBS NBA Monday. Then Tuesday, the Houston Rockets take on the Charlotte Hornets. That's the NBA on TNT. Well, now we're going to talk luge for just a moment. We have a lot more of the figure skating to come. But when Mark Ramette, Brian Martin, Chris Thorpe, and Gordy Shear won medals at the Nagano Olympics in the sport of luge, it was big news. Then Mark Ramette and Brian Martin broke through and won the gold medal here at the Goodwill Games in the same sport. At one time, all four of these guys lived in the same house. Now they're together in the same house. One of them's about to get married. Craig Sager's on the scene. Craig?
Well, Al, yes, it is Gordy Shear who is about to get married. We had his newly remodeled house, and that is why new rugs, no shoes. We have to show our socks. And by the way, this is Slappy, and in this lodge, Al, our animals are live. They're not mounted on the wall. All right, Gordy, Chris, obviously you guys took the silver medal in Nagano. You guys, Brian, Mark, took the bronze, as Al mentioned. You followed up with a gold. A new track. How were you able to master this track before anybody else?
We really came to this track knowing that we weren't going to know the lines and knowing that we were going to have to work hard to figure them out in the short amount of runs that we had. So really put our noses to the grindstone and just went for it.
Nice job, Mark. He's hauling ass.
Yeah, we knew that when we came here that everybody was going to be on an even playing field. And so we knew that we had to really work hard to figure out the lines. Everybody was in the same boat, so.
You mentioned the even playing field. Gordy, Chris, some of the Europeans and singles felt that they didn't have enough practice or they didn't like the track. They took their sleds and went home. Can you guys turn this into a home track advantage, do you think? Do you like the track?
It's a fantastic facility. It was unfortunate that they decided not to race, but in the coming years, I think they'll find that it's a fantastic track and they'll look forward to coming here.
After traveling 5 months, years, and nice, Gordy, to be at home?
Yeah, it's definitely nice to come home, especially, you know, with the Goodwill Games going on. You know, the world's focus is right here, and it's a great feeling. It's pretty neat.
As Al mentioned, no medals for U.S. Luge until '98. How are you guys able to do what no other Americans were? Not only compete with the Europeans, but surpass them?
Well, one of the things that we had to do is that the four of us really worked hard together. We pushed each other. When one team was down, the other would pick them up. And it was that competition that pushed us to a higher level.
Now the competition is over, the season's over, you'd like to split your separate ways. Gordy's making you all stay in town another week for this wedding. What's going on, Gordy?
Well, I wanted to do it, you know, and I wanted to have our wedding at a time when all of our friends could be around, and now, you know, these guys are going to be around, but they'll have to just stay a little longer. So.
Yeah, Chris wants to go to Daytona. Let's meet the new partner. Ann, come on in here real quick. This is Gordy's trading Chris in for Ann. They're getting married this weekend. And we'll keep the cameras here. Maybe we can televise the wedding, Al.
Craig, our best of the new family Shear, and of course one of the reasons all these guys live here in Lake Placid is the U.S. Olympic Luge team trains here, and now they've got a brand new track to be even better for the future. When we come back, we'll take you back to the 1980 rink as the live figure skating exhibitions continue on the final night of the 2000 Winter Goodwill Games.
There's a better way to toast a sub. Quiznos Oven-Baked Classics.
These fans are so excited their hair is standing on end. We're back here with only 3 aerialists still to go. Gold, silver, and bronze at stake. American Joe Pack holds the lead. But still to come, Britt Swartley from Team USA, Steve Omischel from Canada, Eric Burgess will be last. Fritz Swartley flies here and flies elsewhere. Check this out. A licensed pilot, learned to fly not too long ago, loves it. Well, I think it goes with his sport, don't you, Trace?
You know what? I would probably go for a good day skiing with Britt. I don't think I'd get up a plane with him, that's for sure.
Well, I noticed we didn't see him land, you know, which is as important in an airplane, I think, as it is here on the jump hill.
Absolutely. Right here at 127.94, he needs to lead. He's doing a full double, full, a quad twisting triple, which, by the way, is a maximum score of 133.5. He really needs to step it up a notch right here. Britt, a great technician in the sport of freestyle, very familiar with the surroundings, trains here in Lake Placid in the summertime. Here we go, quad triple. Wow!
Stretch!
Yeah!
Britt Swartley from Blue Bell, Pennsylvania. He loved it. Ranked number 7 in the World Cup standings. And the crowd greets him with enthusiasm. And a third-place finish in Deer Valley in that Olympic test event, so he's getting ready for 2002.
Always shadowed. He's the best-ranked aerialist the last 2 years. Always shadowed because he doesn't win major competitions. Look at this, quad triple. Just steers it down, absorbs the landing real nice. He's dropping 5 stories out of the sky. Here's Wayne Hildebrand. He's pumped up. Look at his reaction. He says, "You're good" in the air. He says, "You're good."
And he catches teammate Joe Pack to take the lead here and find himself a place on the podium. And there's his score, and he's into first place. Britt Swartley. Here he is with Craig Rodman. Craig.
Brett, do you feel like you're at your home away from home? Yeah, absolutely. Lake Placid is my second hometown next to Blue Bell, Pennsylvania, and to come out and do a good jump like that is just perfect. Are you feeding off the crowd's energy? Yeah, a little bit. I usually don't do that, but I did it tonight. I tried something different, and it seemed to work, so keep it going. Thanks.
Holding the lead, he'll have a medal here at the Goodwill Games, 28-year-old Britt Swartley.
It up, hanging out with the big boys. I asked his coach, Nick Bass, I said, "Is this kid gonna be good someday?" And he looked at me and said, "Trace, he's already good." And which was impressive. He said he's a very special jumper. He's got a lot of technique. And the main thing about Omashal that Nick said is he's way into it. And that's real important that this kid comes out. He loves his sport. He does it for fun.
Here he goes. First year on the World Cup Tour. He's done well. Let's see what he does in the Goodwill Games.
Quad triple. Great technique, great form. Oh, and he gets a little bit sideways in the landing, a little bit 1 foot heavy.
Well, that sets up the possibility of an All-American podium here, depending on the score for Omashal, who had problems on the landing. Looks like he might be hurting a little bit. One to come is the Olympic champion and the 1999 world champion Eric Burgess of the USA. Looks like Omashal is all right, but still in some pain.
As they say, experience pays off, but I'm impressed with this kid's first year. Spinning up a quad triple, legs a little bit apart, but not bad. He needed to get his arms forward, reaching down the hill a little bit more. He had him too relaxed by his side. That's what caused him to go by.
Omashal waiting for his score. There it is. He's into 4th place. Here he is with Craig Rodman. Craig.
Steve, it looks like you were a little disappointed with that one. What's going through your mind?
My first jump was probably the best jump I've ever done in my life. I just need to put down that jump. I only started doing that jump last week, and it was a gamble, and it didn't pay off. I just wasn't ready to do that trick, and
thanks.
Disappointment, tough day for Steve Omashal. We're just glad he's okay. Well, the crowd getting into it here. The Olympic champion is next and last in this competition, going for the gold in the Goodwill Games, the inaugural Winter Games here in Lake Placid. Let's go to Sean Smith.
Very excited. They know the U.S. is sitting in 1st and 2nd place with the Olympic gold medalist Eric Burgess left to jump. He's up there getting ready, thinking about his jump. This could be a sweet thing, a 1-2-3 sweep. I'm hoping for it.
Remember, he's had only 2 World Cup events because of the ankle injury suffered earlier in the season. Back from that, strong, ready to go. He's a big event jumper. As Trace Worthington told us, he just seems to shine when the money's on the line.
No doubt about it. Coach Wayne Hildebrand dialing it in, making sure everything's okay, checking out the wind, letting him know what's up. Eric's going to pull this off. I have a feeling a 1-2-3 sweep by the U.S. This could be a sweet night. I haven't seen that in a long time. Loves Lake Placid. Big crowd. A triple he's chose. A full. Tim showed up here in Lake Placid 10 years ago in a beater car and eating PB&Js for a few years until he made the World Cup circuit, and here he is, an Olympic gold medalist going for gold at Goodwill's.
Pride of Missoula, Montana.
There's his famous technique, the one arm up, double full in, full, and hits the landing. 2 quad twisting triples, a change of flight plan.
Perfect night for aerial competition, and 3 American young men here at home in front of an American crowd rooting for them, delivering in the inaugural Winter Goodwill Games. Burgess, Swartley, and Pack, congratulations, guys. Back to Al Troutwig.
All right, Tim, obviously the fans knew where to go. That's spectacular stuff. Quick note on Britt Swartley. This was a silver that may have felt like a gold. He was absolutely devastated when he finished 5th at the Nagano Olympics. His family and friends know that, so they were out in force, 50 of them roughly, to be there tonight to watch him jump. So he is absolutely thrilled. You might wonder, by the way, how they learn these tricks. Well, they do it into a swimming pool. Big facility here in Lake Placid and one in Park City, Utah as well. When we come back, we're going to show you the wild world of skeleton. Head first, down the mountain. And the Americans have a great sledder. His name is Jim Shea. Back after this.